right, thought I'd give you a little bit of a update on what's been happening in this last week. Of course, we've been on spring break this whole last week. Sounds like we're going to be on spring break again this week as we try to figure out how to deal with teaching in the kind of current situation with the virus. But this last week was kind of fun and productive because of being on spring break, and so I decided I was going to start working on this new project here at the shop. Now that I've kind of got things a little bit more functional. I got all these parts. I had all these like FJ40 parts that I gotten with my initial FJ40 that I put together, and it had extra doors and a lot of extra sheet metal, things like that. And then I had acquired another FJ40 and gotten a real good deal on it because the frame was kind of bad on it in spots, and so I thought, it'd be kind of cool to take all these extra sheet metal parts and extra frame and stuff and try to build something kind of cool out of that. So basically, it started me down this path where I have been interested in these the FJ or HJ Troopy or Troop Carrier. It was basically a vehicle that Toyota made that could carry about 11 people in. They called them Troop Carriers or Troopies, and I've always kind of thought they were cool. Thought they'd make a cool kind of expedition vehicle that could like camp out of or travel out of. Kind of remind me a little bit of Volkswagen Westphalia campers, that type of thing. So I thought it'd be cool if I could maybe like find one of those. Of course, they're becoming more common here in the States, but they always fetch a pretty hefty price. And I've got all these parts, and it was one of those things where I felt like the parts, I can sell them, but I'm not going to get much out of them. And honestly, it was kind of like a perfect storm where all these things kind of came together, where I've got, a frame, and I've got this extra sheet metal, and why not just kind of in the spirit of the DIY spirit, why not just like try to build something unique out of them? And then eventually, like maybe, I can build this thing and, kids can camp out of it, or we can go places or something in it. So, because right now, I can only take like 2 kids with me in the other FJ. So this would be kind of neat as a longer wheelbase vehicle to be able to work with. So anyway, I got started on that this week, and I wasn't really sure, never cut a frame and spliced it. So this is kind of all new to me. I am using a lot of my skills that I learned as a fabricator, though, working in my first job as a welder when I got out of school. And so having a place and a shop where I can do all that is pretty amazing. Especially like to have flat concrete and like be able to lay all this out. That's super exciting to me, and kind of why we had moved south, to be able to find a place, a shop that was large that I could work out of and do both my, artwork that I do, but also do these projects that I always find myself getting involved in. And so that was kind of the plan. So this week I said, okay, let's do it. Let's cut this frame. Let's like stretch it and figure out what we need to do to make this work. So I started that this week, maybe about midweek, and I set up the frame, leveled everything, popped wheels off of it, got everything set where it was going to be, decided where I was going to make my cuts, cut the frame, stretched the rear section back, got it realigned, and then took sections from another frame and cut out sections to add in to lengthen that. And so basically the wheelbase, I think on the stock FJ40 is around 90 some inches. I stretched this out to about 116, 118, I think, something like that. And for wheelbase, and so I'm adding 26 inches in the middle of the vehicle. And then for an actual stock Troopy dimensions, I'm looking at the frame for it that Toyota originally made. stretching another 16 inches behind the rear spring perches. So you're picking up, you know, a lot of real estate. It's really stretching the frame a lot. And so I've still got to do, I've got all the sections in. I have only tacked the rear section, but I've got the middle section, the 26 inches welded in. I need to reinforce. There's a boxing of sheet metal. It's, you know, steel stock, actually. I guess it's pretty thick. But basically, there's a bracing that goes on the inside of that frame rail C channel. So this C is in there right now, but I still need to come back in and add that bracing. And I'll probably do further bracing on back because we're extending so much. I've got a cross member that I need to weld in. I'll probably weld in another cross member up in the middle section where I've extended in addition to the stock one. So again, still lots to do, but the main thing is set up. It's back on wheels. Everything's been checked 4 or 5 times, triple checked, to make sure that like everything's in alignment and that I haven't like screwed something up in terms of the straightness of the frame. So that's kind of where I'm at. I just got done last night, adding that last 16 inches in, tacking it in. I still haven't finalized it, welding a bit, or the cross member that's in it. So yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. Eventually the goal is then to take the extra sheet metal that I have once the frame is done and set everything up with the cowl and the doors. I want to actually add in an extra set of doors. I'm going to have to weld in some sills. Again, I have extra parts though from another body, so I should have most of everything I need to be able to get the tub actually pieced back together. And it's going to get sectioned the same way, where I'm taking parts and adding in other parts to get the length that I need to get back to this wheelbase I've now created. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I'll just kind of take you around and kind of show you what I've done, and you can take a look at it. So, all right, so here it is. Everything's set up in the shop. So this is kind of, you know, got everything where I want it, and kind of take a look. So basically, this is that rear section I've added, which is, you know, you can kind of see, you know, right in here, 16 inches there, and then we did another 26 inches, you know, like right in this area right here. So basically splice. I'm going to have to put some more mounts in for body mounts. I've got the ones I cut off this section though, so I can add those in. The front, you know, stays pretty much stock. No changes there. Pretty much the same setup, other than, you know, probably eventually I'll probably do power steering, so that steering box will be removed. It'll be just like what I did on my other FJ. Steering box will probably be like a Saginaw box that goes up front in that cross member in the front. Eventually probably a winch mount, modify the bumper in there. And then, like I said, it'll probably be, once I box this in, I'll probably go ahead and do some sort of like cross member piece that goes in maybe farther back here. And then, you know, I haven't modified anything leaf spring or shock related. That's all stock. And then again, just basically extended with these sections here. And then I'll probably do some extended bracing. These cross braces here, I would like to probably change the angle on that and maybe make it a little steeper, depending on what I do with this cross member. This is just something right now I've just got setting in here. So we'll figure out what to do there. This will probably wind up being a gas tank mount in here also. So, you know, I'm just trying to get the whole thing mocked up, make sure it's straight, keep it, you know, everything in place where it's supposed to be, and then box in, and then I will come back and with any place where I've welded, I'm going to reinforce with an overlay plate. I might actually even overlay plate this entire section, any place where there's weld. Most people would cut this. I probably should have cut this on an angle instead. That's how they did it from the factory, because you get more weld seam there for the length. I went ahead and went vertical. I saw a few other people had done that and gone vertical instead on their modified frames. I think I'll be okay. Again, I've made sure to burn in the welds really well on these, and like I said, I'll just plate that as a reinforcement. And honestly, you know, this is how it is stock back here. This is all exposed, but I'll probably wind up coming in and plating the inside of this as well, welding that and fully boxing that in, you know, when I get ready to finish that up. So that's kind of where I'm at. I know it sounds like a pretty ambitious kind of project, but I'm really stoked to get to the sheet metal part of it. So that's been the motivation for getting the frame, you know, where it's at, has been to get kind of to the point where I can start doing sheet metal work. I'm excited about being able to build that out, and you know, I've got this whole you know, body over here, and then I've got a ton more sheet metal parts. As you can see, there's a cowl section sitting up there over my welding table, so yeah, so I've got more than enough sheet metal, and this needs, you know, rust repair anyway. It's not horrible. Floor's pretty solid. There's some areas that I'm going to have to, you know, work on over in the floorboard area, or the outer floorboard. But the rear cargo area, I've got extra rear cargo area that'll help me stretch that. I've got extra wheel wells. So I mean, I should have everything I need to get that main tub kind of created, and then yeah, that's when the fun begins, I guess, in a lot of ways for me, is to get to that point. So man, I was just super stoked though to be able to have a place to lay this all out and be able to make sure that I keep it straight and everything true. So yeah, so again, that's just kind of an update showing you what I've been up to this last like 3-4 days, and the kind of the progress I've made there, and just gonna keep rolling on this hopefully, and yeah, it should be fun. It should be a fun project, especially if we can build it out as like a pop top style camper, which there's a company that made a pop top for these, because since they were fiberglass tops, you could actually make a pop top for it. So again, we'll see. I'm just doing this on the cheap, you know, as usual. Everything's on a freebie budget kind of thing situation, and so we'll see how I can piece this together, and hopefully you guys can all follow along and check out the progress as I come along on this. So like I said, I'm sure there's a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you should have done it this different way. You know, I read a ton on this, and I'm just doing the best way that I know how, and you know, if you think there's a better way, yeah, you're free to comment, but you know, look, I'm making progress, so call it what you will. So anyway, hope you enjoy. You know, subscribe, check it out, follow, whatever, and hopefully we'll get some more installments of this up soon. Thanks. See ya.